What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes. And in today's video, I wanted to relay a very, very good example or analogy as to what's going on in terms of these platforms selling off their Bitcoin or ETH, or why they would do that. And does that mean that, these platforms no longer believe in the value of Bitcoin or ETH going forward? And that's really what it comes down to. So with all this panic, with all this fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it's easy for the casual observer to be like, well, hey, look, the prices are dropping because those who, had large amounts are selling it off because they just don't see the long-term value. Okay. And the analogy that really hit home for me is actually from full credit to Teeka Tiwari. I just, part of his newsletter and a great video that he had, he relayed this analogy that I'm going to relay here. And so, just for a second, pretend as if you're in a cabin, you are snowed in, all the exits are snowed in, you can't get out, you have no electricity, no heat, and your propane tanks are empty. All right. So you have a fireplace. There's nothing that you have, no heat. Okay. And you may have your favorite furniture, your family heirlooms, maybe the rocking chair, grandmother's rocking chair, or, whatever the case may be. You're going to use whatever you can to chop it up, make it into wood so that you have fire to survive. All right. Now, maybe that seems a little bit odd what that analogy is saying, but your reasoning for, in this case, chopping up firewood or chopping up furniture for firewood, it's not because you don't care for the furniture, you don't care for the things in the cabin. It's that you actually have to survive. And so when it comes down to survival versus everything else, chances are you're going to pick survival. And that may seem like it's a very simplistic analogy, but this is what's happening in the crypto space now, is that these centralized exchanges like Celsius or other maybe family offices or whatever it is, they're leveraged to a large extent. And so in order for them to stay solvent, meaning they don't go bankrupt, they have to sell things off in order to survive. So it has nothing to do with the asset that they're actually selling. And in the crypto space and the DeFi space, Bitcoin and ETH are the assets that are used as collateral. That's just the way it is. Nothing really else is used. And so when you're in a tight position where you need to have capital, to be liquid, to make sure that you don't go bankrupt, those are the things that are going to be sold off. All right. So in this case, Bitcoin, that's the furniture. And so they're chopping it up. They're getting rid of it because they need to survive. It has nothing to do with the asset itself. So that was a great analogy that hit home for me, simplified things for me. And, another warning that he actually did put out there on top of all of this is that this is probably not the only platform or entity that we're going to see run into this problem. There are ripple effects to this. There are more players involved that have been heavily impacted, if not run out of business, whether those are family offices or other investment firms that had exposure to Celsius or anything else. There's a lot more to this than just Celsius alone, and we'll probably see one or two, if not more, come out publicly and state the difficulties they're in, or the fact that they need to just disappear, right? And that is going to add more fear, maybe dump even more Bitcoin onto the market, which may have an effect on the price point. And look, if it's under 20K, this is not financial advice, but I'm going heavy right now. I've been buying as it's dipped down, 21, 22, 23K where it's been now. But I'm also the same guy that, dollar cost average when it was 61,000. So to me, if I'm going to buy 61 or 50, 55 right now, things are on clearance. This is a great sale. And I'm definitely going to be adding more. 18 to 20, that is something that I never thought I'd see, and I would not waste that. Okay, so I wanted to relay that for you. A lot of times, even myself, sometimes when you see certain asset classes dip down and all you hear is that, well, so-and-so platform that held so much of it dumped it onto the market, you think they did that because something's wrong with that asset that they dumped. And that's not the case. They had to, in this case, Celsius had to sell off some of their Bitcoin, or quite a bit of their Bitcoin. Well, sorry, they did not have to sell it off. Is that they held off on withdrawals because there's so much outflow coming from their platform. They weren't liquid enough, and so they had to be, they have to do what they need to do to stay liquid. So recently, I just heard that they dumped another 100 million, maybe 150 million into their vaults. So they're more secure. They brought that liquidation price a little bit lower. But all in all, if Bitcoin is being dumped on the market, it has nothing to do with Bitcoin's long-term value. It has to do with these companies needing to stay solvent, needing to stay in business. In order to do that, they have to sell off their most precious asset in order to be liquid. And that's Bitcoin. Okay, so I just wanted to stress that because it's important that you understand what is happening from a high level. I mean, there's all kinds of different nuances and intricacies involved, but high level has nothing to do with the asset that's being dumped on the market. Okay, so going forward, you could see 1, 2, or more entities that are dumping Bitcoin onto the market, and you may question, is this Bitcoin, and what do they see in Bitcoin that I don't see, or what should I be worried about? And that is not the case. They just use Bitcoin as collateral, and that's the easiest way for them to become liquid. So they have to kind of put that on the market. All right. I wanted to share that. I thought that was a very important analogy that he made. Hit home for me. Hopefully hit home for you. Like, subscribe, share this video, especially during these times. So I think it's important that we support each other, especially for those who are new in the market. It's a tough time. And the more we can support each other, the better. And, if you found value in this video, please do share the video, subscribe, of course. And just remember, tomorrow never comes. Invest in yourself today and take action. I'll see you guys in the next video.